Hey Nomads, Colonel Wheeler and Chief Morgan here, and we're here hosting for you another virtual award ceremony for our
Yes.
quarterly awards. So this time we'll do it for the second quarter of 2020. So same thing goes as before. We very much would like to do these in front of a large audience. Obviously, with COVID being what it is, we're going to take the awards out to the winners and tell you in person how proud we are of you. But this is some public acknowledgement for the outstanding work that's been done. And the work that's been done this quarter has been in the face of challenges unlike any other that we've seen here in quite a while. So with that said, we did have, of course, a few standout performances from throughout the wing. We definitely want to recognize those individual and team performances today. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about our nominations that we made for the annual Leadership Award, the Saigon Leadership Award that went up to AATC with our results pending. So we're going to announce the winners from those categories as well. All right, so for that first category, Airman of the Quarter, we had three outstanding nominees. We had Senior Airman Cruz from the 58th Fighter Squadron, A1C Purnell from the Maintenance Group, and Senior Airman Tenna. So out of those three worthy candidates, the winner was Senior Airman Tenna. Why did we have Senior Airman Tenna as our award winner this quarter?
You know, as I looked at Senior Airman Tenna's package, there was a couple things that really stood out to me, sir. And one thing, as a senior airman doing IT solutions across Team Eglin, there are over 500 techs that do that job. She was number 3 across Team Eglin.
Yeah, it's pretty
I mean,
impressive.
how impressive is that for a senior airman to be doing that job and standing out as number 3 between all these wings in such a large organization? But not only that is she becoming an expert in her job, she's also improving herself. She's working on her bachelor's in IT systems, really becoming more of an expert in her job, in her professional development, her education, and also she contributed to that exceptional Kobar Memorial ceremony that we did.
For our NCO category this quarter, we also had three very worthy nominees. We have Tech Sergeant Nelson from the Ops Group, Tech Sergeant Dennis from the Maintenance Group, and Tech Sergeant Falcone from the Wing Staff Agencies.
All right.
So our winner from those three worthy candidates is Tech Sergeant Dennis from the Maintenance Group.
All right.
Why don't you tell us why Sergeant Dennis took the award this quarter?
All right. Now, Master Sergeant Select Dennis, we recently found out after this quarter, is really her and her team. As we know, tech sergeants are the technical experts in what they do. And I think she has really proven that. And this quarter, she was able to demonstrate that with her and her team of 25 or so egress techs as they stood out and ensured the safety of our pilot during the incident. I mean, I think during something like that, we count on our equipment working, and absolutely in the most critical point in this airman's career, this pilot's career, his equipment did not fail him. And that was directly a result of Sergeant Dennis's leadership in making sure that that team's attention to detail was on point. Also on top of that, she's continuing to develop herself. She's one of only 8 across Team Eglin Greenbelt holders. So actually certified in Greenbelt, and she's already put that to work over in the 96 Med group and the 96 Maintenance group as well.
All right, great. For our senior NCO category this quarter, we've got 3 nominees. So we've got Master Sergeant Chalmers from the Operations Group, Senior Master Sergeant O'Bannon from the Maintenance Group, and Master Sergeant Ramsey from WSA.
All right.
And the winner from those 3 was Master Sergeant Ramsey.
Okay. All right, so one of Master Sergeant Ramsey's team members, already won an award. Senior Airman Tenna there. And so what we really see from this senior NCO, from Jack, is leading his team, leading team members. So she was one of the top techs of all those 500 techs closing IT tickets in Team Eglin. But Sergeant Ramsey's team had 4 of the top 10 techs.
Wow.
So the 33rd Fighter Wing, this team had 4 of the top 10 techs across Team Eglin addressing and closing out IT trouble tickets. So I think that is pretty impressive. And Jack is really just doing great things across the WSA, and I think it continues to show, particularly during this environment. And also getting out there and leading teams again, he was instrumental in making that Kobar Memorial Ceremony happen, particularly on the protocol piece and orchestrating all those pieces.
So, Chief, our company grade officer nominees for the quarter included Lieutenant Lorenz from over at the OG front office and Captain Armstrong from FM. So the winner was Captain Armstrong.
All right. I'll tell you what, Captain Armstrong has absolutely been involved in everything across this wing. And I think the more that you look around, you can see his fingerprints on a little bit of everything. And I'll just talk on COVID a little bit for a minute. I think by and large across a lot of these packages, we won't see a lot of COVID accomplishments, even though all of us have a role. But Captain Armstrong was absolutely instrumental in leaning forward when we knew we'd need masks, we would need supplies for disinfecting our areas and sustaining that for a long period of time. Captain Armstrong made sure that we were set as the 33rd Fighter Wing and got those protective measures to our airmen across the wing in a really timely manner.
All right, for field grade officer of the quarter, it came down to Major Dornsey from the Air Control Squadron, 337th, and Major Jensen. And the winner was Major Jensen from the maintenance group. Why Major Jensen?
All right. So I'll tell you what, Major Jensen has been a little bit everywhere all over this wing, and particularly with our SATAP, the Site Activation Task Force, which is us standing up our new squadron as we move forward, the 60th Fighter Squadron, and how we're going to do that in the future. So Major Jensen has decided, or is helping us decide and shape the future of the AMU and that fighter squadron. Also, he is developing himself personally as well, getting involved in the Team Eglin leadership courses, and also becoming an instructor and teaching others in STEM courses across the base and in the local area. So really impressive, well-rounded FGO and Major Jensen.
Our total team of nomads includes our civilians, and this quarter our civilian Cat 2 winner for the quarter is Josephine Quist from down at the 337th ACS.
What I really liked about Miss Quist is really her involvement at many different levels, particularly in the FM and RA. She's an RA, a resource advisor, but she really handled the entirety of the budget at the ACS. But she made sure that the execution was happening at all the appropriate levels. So taking that $4 million budget that the ACS has and making sure that it's appropriately executed is really key. Not only that, she didn't just let that go. She is making sure that the continuity of that, she is building not a continuity binder, but a whole record of continuity digitally. That way that she can pass that on to others so they can build on that experience and expertise and make sure that they keep hitting home runs in the future. And she's also really involved in the local community as Panama City and Team Tyndall continues to face a lot of difficulties from the follow-on from Hurricane Michael, even though it's been a couple years.
Cat 2 civilians, and then we also have Cat 3 civilians. And this quarter we had a nomination for Mr. Jim Gates as well as Mr. Brian Sullins. And the winner from those two was Sully Sullins.
All right. So Sully definitely always stands out as a high performer here. And again, an individual that was very involved after our mishap, and particularly the Interim Safety Investigation Board, where he initiated the emergency action checklist. He led kind of that on-scene team as they started the investigation. But not only that, it was not just a week at a time, but in excess of a week, day in and day out, that Sully was out there heavily involved in making sure that we properly preserved the wreckage and everything to make sure that the investigation was properly done. So really impressive from Sully. Not only that, like many other of our award winners we see, he was constantly personally and professionally developing himself so he could take those skills and translate those into the mission and mission accomplishment.
All right, with all those huge challenges, we had quite a few teams that really worked together well to get us through for the last quarter. And 3 of those teams are the weapons team, OSK, down at the 58th and 33rd OSS. Then you had the cyber ops team. We already heard a couple of the great things their individuals did. They also worked great as a team. And then, of course, you had the egress team, whose work was definitely on display this quarter. So the winner of the team of the quarter for 33rd Fighter Wing is the egress team.
I think we can just bottom line this with, they saved the lives of one of our pilots, and we captured that a little bit earlier. We touched on that with Sergeant Dennis's award. But that was really a team effort. And you see, not only did they do this, but they were also involved with the 325th Maintenance Squadron and leading a Tiger team there to kind of build up their egress system or their egress section and kind of their processes and system as well. And also outside our fence line and in the community, that this team as well was heavily involved there, feeding the local community and doing a lot of volunteer work. Okay. So just really, really well-rounded. I think when we look at teams, this is one of the hardest categories because when we put our teams together, they really, really do some amazing things.
So that concludes our quarterly awards, and congratulations to all of our winners. This is also the time of year in the summer where we get to put forward our Wings nominees for the Saigon Leadership Award, as I alluded to there in the intro. And this year we've got some really outstanding nominees across the 4 different categories. And this award is really about well-roundedness. It's about leadership, and really leadership is the key word, but it's leadership at work. It's leadership in the community. It's leadership on just being a professional and being an airman. And so we've got 4 nominees that we've sent up, and we're hoping that they win this at the higher level, first competing at AATC. And when they all win there, then they'll all compete up at the Air Force level. But we definitely wanted to recognize and put out there to the public these outstanding performances.
We have from the 33rd Operations Group, A1C Jordan Jones. Okay. From the 33rd Maintenance Group, Tech Sergeant Amanda Dennis, or Master Sergeant Select Amanda Dennis. And from the 33rd Fighter Wing Staff, Staff Sergeant Yang Feng.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely 3 very worthy contenders. Yes. And Master Sergeant Select Dennis is our nominee that went up to the AATC level to compete. Oh. So on the base level, being that 1 of 8 green belts, she's taken that and used it to train others on how to improve processes, which has been a big deal kind of throughout. She's also been a master of many different trades, to include doing financial management functions. And then not just that, but the Nomad Association president. So that's a huge wing-wide impact on all of those functions. And then in the community, she's been the president of the advisory board at the school, and has been very involved there to include things with the COVID response and those sorts of policy things that come up as an advisor there to the school board. So widespread impact and very well earned as a leader.
From the Ops Group, we have Master Sergeant Clint Polstaway.
Yep.
And from the Maintenance Group, Master Sergeant Patty Jones. Mm-hmm. And from the WSA, Master Sergeant Derek LeBounty.
Awesome. And our winner in submission is Master Sergeant Patty Jones from Maintenance Group. So congratulations to Patty. Again, very broad in the scope of the work that she's done. Mm-hmm. And really what stands out there is leading 3 different sections in the maintenance group. So that includes analysis section, the plans, scheduling, and documentation section, and the engine management section. She went well beyond that with her influence, and a lot of that is how she led the airmen that were in her charge in each of those 3 sections. You're looking at over 100 credit hours for various courses of professional development, whether that's college courses or professional development courses from our enlisted force that she took a direct interest in making sure our airmen continue to develop and grow. She's also had wing-wide impact. She was the representative for our CFC campaign this past year. And so she trained 8 other representatives for CFC campaign to make sure that that impact was widespread so that we could help out the community, and did that as our projo here for the wing. And then she's also done stuff in the community. She's an animal lover, so she's led a little event called the Dog Days, which is basically doing things to make dogs happy. And if dogs are happy, then that makes me happy because I like dogs too. So
sounds great.
Congrats to Master Sergeant Jones on a job well done, and our nominee for the Saigon Leadership Award for Senior Enlisted category.
Awesome. From the ops group, we had Captain Matthew Powell. And from the maintenance group, we had Captain Keel Bartholomew.
Yep.
And from the WSA, we had Lieutenant Henry Edwards.
Awesome. Yeah, 3 great individuals. The person we decided to submit for this one is Captain Rumble Powell.
All right.
Rumble is a great instructor down at the 58th. He actually stands out in a squadron full of great instructors, and you'll see him as the one who's out in front, and we really put him on display because he's got such a great ability to communicate. For example, he was down at the AFA symposium. He's actually briefing the chief of staff down there on F-35 training and F-35 issues. I know that he presented to the 19th Air Force commander when he came to give him a better understanding, and he really has a great way of communicating. He's also been extremely involved in extracurricular activities, and then one of his biggest impacts is he was the designated flight commander for that 6-person B course that came through those brand new pilots, and really took it upon himself to not just teach them how to fly the F-35, but teach them about Air Force culture, and developed a program called Fighter Pilot 101 just to teach the brand new fighter pilots who have never flown a fighter before kind of what that means and what their responsibilities are, and did a really great job with that.
From the ops group, we had Major Jonathan Dietz. And from the maintenance group, Major Robert Jensen.
Awesome. So the nominee that we put forward for AETC level is Major Jonathan Dietz. Really a pretty unique story on this one. Major Dietz's impact stems a lot from what he's done here with the 37th Air Control Squadron and the amazing progress that they made this past year, but also the work he did downrange and really having an impact on real world in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the work he did down there. So back home, he's runs the $1 million program, the training program, as the DOS, or the scheduling chief. They also did a complete syllabus rewrite this year, and he was definitely a big part of that to optimize the syllabus and produce air battle managers in less time than it took us before, to help us correct the shortfall that we have of air battle managers that are in the combat air forces. So he did all that back home, but then he also deployed downrange for 4 or 5 months, and he was very much front and center in assessing the ability of missile defense and counter UAS, or unmanned aerial systems, over in Saudi Arabia. Awesome. So those are our winners for the quarter. Those are our nominees for the Saigon Award. Outstanding work, rising above the challenges has kind of been the theme of the quarter. So thanks to all of you for all your fine support this quarter, and looking forward to the next quarter to come. So Chief, what words of wisdom you got for the group?
Well, really, I was thinking about the packages this weekend, and really kind of the performance over this last quarter. In this entire quarter, we have been smack dab in the middle of COVID. And what I think the recurring theme that I saw is we didn't let COVID become a distraction. We continued to execute the mission and stay on task, and let the main thing be the main thing. And even though, of course, COVID absolutely affected all of us and we had to adjust fire as necessary, we did not let that become the new mission. We
Right.
let the mission continue to be the mission. And we also continue to do the other things that are important to us. We continue to stay involved in the community. We continue to grow our leaders. We continued to be the example of great leaders. And so those were the things that I was thinking about this weekend that really stood out to me, that was really kind of nice. You could just take maybe a couple bullets out of a couple of these 1206s and you would never know the difference. That doesn't mean that COVID is behind us or anything, but it means that we have continued on and we have kept focus on what is really important, and we will just continue as you have said from the beginning. We will fly through, or we will drive through this, and we will continue on, and we'll adjust fire as necessary. So that's really what struck me, sir.
Sounds great. All right, thanks, Nomads. Thanks for spending some time with us, and congratulations to our winners.